Cinema Classics is brought to you by the Gateway Film Center, 1550 North High Street, Columbus, Ohio. Further details and showtimes online at gatewayfilmcenter.org.
The award-winning Cinema Classics is produced by John DeSando and Johnny DiLoretto. Listen to the shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org. I'm John DeSando.
I'm Johnny DiLoretto. This is Cinema Classics. Marooned.
Marooned. Now listen.
Marooned. I like that. We should start doing a little title at the beginning of our show.
All right.
Okay? Cinema Classics. Marooned.
And we're spinning off of a show I did on It's Movie Time called The Red Turtle, which was an animation about a young man stranded on an island.
Yeah, a little Japanese.
Yeah. And so I was thinking that there are other movies that...
you're right,
Marooned.
actually. If you think back, this has been a long-standing go-to theme for Hollywood from very early on, right? There's something we keep wanting to visit, that idea of being stranded on an island by yourself, with all the concomitant dangers and pleasures and challenges,
What has made this so attractive to us?
I think real life stories, especially when navigation, nautical, sailing all across the world, you always hear about these legendary tales of sailors being, stranded on a beautiful island.
And we've never known the end of Amelia Earhart. We'd always hoped she ended on an island.
Yeah.
Probably didn't. But there's something, yes, in that fancy. I wondered, particularly today, for instance, how many of us could survive without our cell phones.
Yeah, right.
And that's what this Red Turtle kind of did for me.
Mm-hmm.
It showed me that it was possible to live without everything that we have accumulated in our lives, and with all the connections, particularly electronically, that we have. And Swiss Army Man is the most recent.
Yeah, Swiss Army Man is probably the most recent stranded. There's a twist to that, obviously, but it does. It's a buddy movie, so he's not alone.
Right.
He is and he isn't alone. So there's this is and isn't sort of thing at work with Swiss Army Man.
That's a good point, because that happens also in Red Turtle, where he eventually, the turtle turns into a woman, and so then they have a child.
Uh-huh.
So it's as if you can't be alone if you're going to survive.
Yeah.
So the animators give you something to help you survive.
Right.
Now, Tom Hanks in Castaway has only the volleyball, right?
He has only the volleyball. Yeah. And it probably, in recent years, it's probably the best sort of version of one of these films. You really begin to feel his isolation, his, brushes with insanity.
Yeah.
And also the ingenuity that he exercises in his quest for survival.
And you're right. That's part of what I think in every one of these you have, ingenuity, whereby so much is given to us in our contemporary world, so much we can buy, or it's a legacy, or whatever you want to call it. We don't have to work so hard.
Yeah.
When you're on that island by yourself, even if you have a companion, it's ingenuity that's going to save you.
Right. And I think maybe that's what it is. In some ways, boxing is the most cinematic of sports, right? Because it's the most dramatic to a single character.
Mm-hmm.
So being marooned, that is just rich fertile ground for characterization. And can this character figure this out? Can this person figure this out? I'm thinking, it's not on your list there, but another recent one is The Martian.
Oh, great! Yes, thank you.
Not marooned on a desert island, but marooned on a desert planet.
Terrific example, and ingenuity with a capital I.
Yeah.
Excellent. There's one in 1999 that I've always loved, that I think everybody pretty much knows about, Lord of the Flies.
Yeah.
And nobody's alone on that island.
1990.
1990.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not the only version of that movie.
Yeah, but don't you think that it has some of the properties, but it rather looks at a certain psychology about young people, about people who are let to their own devices in a
Yeah.
place like this. It's a much more complex, stranded motif.
A more idyllic version of Stranded Youth would be Blue Lagoon.
Oh, somehow I didn't have Blue Lagoon. You're
Well,
right.
you know,
Yes.
that's the more pleasurable aspect of the whole thing.
Going way, way back, and a favorite short story of mine by Richard Connell, The Most Dangerous Game.
Oh yeah, that's a really good one.
Right, and there is ingenuity. There's a madman on the island who has unleashed
Yeah.
these forces against this guy who's alone, and it's terrific. It's a terrific short piece. I think it's only about an hour.
Yeah, it's a great movie from the early 30s. Another early one. I know you have the Island of Dr. Moreau on there.
Right.
But there was a version, the original version of the Island of Dr. Moreau was called the Island of Lost Souls. And it was directed by Todd Browning. And that movie is, it's the same premise. This guy is rescued. He's awash at sea. And he's rescued by this strange man and this really weird crew of
Weirder than Marlon Brando.
Oh, yeah, yeah, he's pretty weird. Wait, he gave Brando a nice little template, but yeah, it's a weird movie where this guy Moreau is crafting animal-human hybrids genetically.
Ah, yes, yes.
And the guy actually he kind of falls in love with this woman who's like maybe part cougar or something like that, a real cougar. And it's just a weird, it really brushes up against some uncomfortable notions.
But does it have anything to do with our ingenuity requirement?
No,
Okay.
so I guess, scrap that one.
Now I have another one
Yeah.
that we might scrap.
Okay.
And I don't know why I put it on here. Maybe because a new version, King Kong Skull Island,
Yeah,
is out.
right.
I was thinking of King Kong. That is an island, but they're not necessarily marooned, right? I mean,
No, they're not marooned.
Okay.
They visit the island and then leave the island.
Okay.
And in almost every version of that story, they leave the island with King Kong. I mean, one might say King Kong is stranded.
Yep. Okay.
He's marooned
okay.
on there. He can't get off of that thing.
Yeah.
It's not that big. One of my favorite movies with this as a theme, the actual marooned part occurs off screen, but it's My Favorite Wife with Cary Grant and Irene Dunn.
Excellent.
And
Wow.
They're in you learn early on in the movie that they were there was a wreck. There was they were on a cruise and the ship sunk or something like that, right? And Cary Grant comes back stateside, starts living his life again. He's mourning the death of his wife, and then he finds out that she's alive, and she's been marooned on an island with Randolph Scott for all these years.
Oh, okay.
And so the jealousy begins.
Oh, yes, of course.
He has to they have to reacclimate to one another, and hanging over the whole thing is, did they or didn't they?
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant comedy.
And what's the name of this thing
It's
again?
called My Favorite Wife.
Who knows about that movie?
Me.
It does. Sometimes I think you're marooned.
Yeah, in the island of my mind.